Some people have asked what gear we weren't happy with, or we switched out, or what we changed as the hike went along. And one of the things that changed was Blue's backpack. She started out with a Granite Gear backpack and just wasn't comfortable. It hurt her shoulders. There wasn't a really good way to transfer the weight down onto your hips. So she ended up switching and going with an Osprey Kite, and she was able to take the pressure off her shoulders and bring it down more to your hips, and that really worked out better for her. We switched that in thinking about Virginia. I think she struggled with the other one for a while before we ended up switching. People also have asked what kind of shoes we went with. And I went with the Salomon Ultra. And I went through 4 pair. I might have been able to get away with going with 3 pair, but Pennsylvania was really rough on them, and I just wanted the comfort over the price at that point, because we were getting quite a way into the hike and my feet were starting to hurt a little bit. With trail runners, they're really comfortable, but they're not as durable as a boot. So you kind of sacrifice comfort for durability. Blue, she went with an Asics Trabuco, and she was really happy with them. She ended up not getting any blisters. Neither one of us really got blisters. Just a couple ones at the beginning, and then they calloused over, and we were fine. So she also went through 4 pair of these, and we ended the hike with, they were still comfortable, the last pair, so that worked out pretty good for us. We also started the hike with some battery operated type headlamps, and we ended up switching to a rechargeable. They just seem to work better, and we're already carrying a Anchor charger, so we were able to use that Anchor charger to do our headlamps, our phones. It got us in between towns, and we never had stuff go dead on us in between going into towns. One thing we did send home too was the hands-free umbrellas. We ended up going with some ponchos that went over us and the backpack, and that was for rain gear. That's what we went to. But you know what? We weren't really happy with either one of them. The wind really didn't work well with these umbrellas, and the trail was overgrown at the beginning because the maintainers hadn't been out yet. So it was really hard to maneuver the umbrellas. One thing we struggled with almost the entire trip was a pillow. We started out with these cloth pillows. We went to an inflatable pillow, and we ended up going basically to our clothes bags near the end. One, just to get rid of some stuff, get rid of weight and space. Our clothing stayed just about the same. We started out with some winter clothing, sent it home and got the summer clothing. Everything seemed to work pretty good, except Blue had trouble with the shorts. She switched, she had a variety of different pairs. Before she ended up going with some things called waxers. They're like a women's boxer short. They're basically just a women's brief. They're called waxers. I dubbed them the superhero shorts because of the color of them and stuff. And they almost survived the hike. But with a lot of the butt scooting down some of the big rock piles, ended up getting some holes in the back of the waxers. So I guess it was as expected if you're scooting on your butt down some rock stuff. But that was one item that we switched to and worked for. No chafing, no nothing. Just seemed to be a good fix. Our sleeping bags, we went from a Mountain Hardwear 0 degree bag to 30 degree Nemo bags by the end of it. My zipper failed on the Mountain Hardware, and we had bought them earlier in May, so by the time we got home, my 1-year warranty was expired from REI. We thought we had bought them closer to when we left for the trip and we'd be okay, but we wanted to take care of it when we got home, and that turned out to be a mistake. But they're a good bag. It was just the zipper. And the 30-degree Nemo bag, that worked well also. The first tent we started out with was a Z-Pack triplex, and that's the tent that I ended up losing. And then we went to a Big Agnes Copper Spur UL2, and that one was a little tight, but it was better in the weather than the Z-Pack, so it worked out for us in the long run. One number people seem to ask about is how much do you think you spent? We're not really quite sure, but because we started in the winter and the weather was so bad, and we ended up staying in more hostels and hotels than we really wanted to at the beginning of the hike. And then we had so much rain in New England that we ended up doing the same with that. And we decided that we were gonna go more in comfort. We weren't really platinum blazing, but between shuttles, hotels, hostels, gear, and everything, we think we spent about 10 grand a piece. Now that might seem a little high, but if you add up your food, hostels, hotels, I'm sure it can be done for cheaper, but we weren't really going out there to suffer. And you know, they say hike your own hike, and our hike was to dodge some rain, dodge some thunderstorms, dodge the blizzards and the snow. And we were able to get off the trail and get into some comfort on a few of those really bad storms. And we don't regret it. People say they can do the trail cheap. Perhaps they can, but for Drifter and Blue, I think it was about 10 grand a piece. That's an estimate that I think is pretty close.